India and Nepal have seen heightened tensions over the last few days, and this is surprising because the two countries don't share such a bitter relationship in any case. This has happened because of a border boundary dispute sparked off after Defense Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated the new Kailash Mansarovar route, which Nepal claims goes through its territory. So, in this episode of Government Matters, we're going to try and understand what has led to these tensions, how bad are they, and what is the Indian establishment thinking? Because, as I said, Nepal is a friendly neighbor. To talk to me, I have Nayanima Basu, who tracks diplomacy for ThePrint. Also, we are live, so please do send in your questions. She will be happy to answer them. Nayanima, quick recap: what has happened over the last few days? What has led to these tensions?
So the tensions basically sparked off recently, although we saw the border sort of happening last year also. But this year, the trigger was basically when India inaugurated, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated the new road that goes to Kailash Mansarovar, and it passes through the Lipulekh Pass. So that has become the contention area because Nepal believes that India has done that and inaugurated the road without consulting Nepal, because Nepal had raised these concerns as recently as around October, November, when India issued a new political map, after Jammu and Kashmir status was changed. But at that time, India did not change the border areas in the map with Nepal had raised certain concerns, and Nepal said that this outstanding issues need to be resolved. So this is what the recent trigger has been, that Nepal is upset that India did not consult Nepal before formally inaugurating the new road. The road is supposed to be completed and operationalized by the year end. So this tension has been going on. This is really nothing new. This has been simmering between both the countries. It's a a decade old problem, more than that. And all that Nepal had been asking was to have a foreign secretary level dialogue so that this can be resolved, because remember, almost 90% of the border issues with Nepal has been resolved, barring just this two area, which is the Kalapani and the Susta region, because this has the British history with the Sugoli Treaty of 1816. So that's how it has been. Nepal has been asking for the talks to happen, but that has unfortunately never sort of took place between both sides. So India said that, once now that Nepal raised the concerns, that let's have the dialogue once the COVID crisis sort of stabilizes. So immediately after that, both sides will have a dialogue. But as we can see that Nepal has gone ahead and now issued a new political map, including Lipulekh Pass as its own territory.
Right. So, but Nayanima, before we get to this, the new map and what Nepal's Prime Minister K.P. has said, let's just go back a little bit into what this Kalapani Lipulekh region is, what the dispute is about.
So the dispute basically it lies in the Uttarakhand state, and it's basically a region in the state that touches the Lipulekh tri-junction area, and that is an area which is important strategically for not just India and Nepal, but also China is a party to it. But then that tri-junction area, India and China has an understanding, because this road has been under construction for last 10 years. So it's nothing as if everything has happened overnight. China is very much on board, in the sense that they know that new road will be built and they will be facilitating sort of, the travel of the pilgrims. Nepal was also aware of it. So it touches the tri-junction area, which is why Nepal always wanted it to be resolved. And India has never said that it will not resolve it, but that's the problem.
Right. So now Nepal, of course, has raised the pitch. Let's talk a little bit about what Prime Minister Oli has said and how India has reacted to that.
Right. So on Tuesday, Prime Minister Oli gave a long speech at the parliament in which he stated several things. He said that, in all practical purposes, Nepal will not be accepting the road. Apart from that, he said that, he will do whatever he can in terms of claiming the territories back. And also, he's gone ahead and stated the fact that India has been spreading the virus in Nepal because people are traveling to Nepal through illegal routes. He called it India virus. Then he also sort of, took a jibe at our national emblem, which is Satyamev Jayate, and he said that, it has turned into Simav Jayate, according to Nepali language. It means the lion triumphs, basically to bring home the fact that India is showing its muscle power. So all these things have really sort of rattled the diplomatic community between both sides. And for India, this comes at a time when it is also facing the humongous crisis in terms of COVID. And they were not really ready for it, because India did say that once the COVID pandemic settles, both sides will discuss the matter.
Right. Well, Nayanima, so what is happening is now India is battling this on many fronts. On one hand, there is China. There are constant tensions and skirmishes on the line of actual control. Of course, the LOC is always tense. And now Nepal. How worried is the diplomatic establishment, the MEA in India, about these rising tensions, including with Nepal, which is largely a friendly neighbor?
Yes, you're right. I mean, Nepal is this one friend with whom you can always, you could always count upon. We have open borders, free movement of people. At the same time, when all these things are happening, we're seeing that India and China are also getting engaged in border scuffles around the Ladakh region and along the line of actual control. And on the other hand, we are seeing Nepal doing these things. So yes, of course, this is a cause of concern for for India, but we've also seen the Ministry of External Affairs giving an official reaction on Wednesday on this new map, stating that they will not be accepting it, and the fact that this goes against the diplomatic understanding that was there between both the countries. So the thing basically boils down to the fact that now, even if these two sides meet and they discuss, what is it that they will be discussing? Because right now, I mean, after having a new map, and Nepal has adopted it already, how much space, how much room is really left with both sides to sort of negotiate and come to a compromise? Because it will not be easy for India to now just tell Nepal to roll back whatever it has done. Right. And yes, the China factor definitely is there. China has said, to answer your question, that yes, it is an India-Nepal bilateral issue. However, we know that China yields a considerable amount of influence in Nepal, because these are the two big neighbors anyway that Nepal has.
And particularly with the Oli dispensation, China does have an edge over India as far as Nepal is concerned. Nayanima, let me begin by asking you some audience questions. There is a question from Parimal A. Why is the border dispute such a big issue when these two countries have an open border and freedom of movement? So, it is true. I mean, when you come to think of it, India and Nepal have such a porous border. You can just cross over. You don't need a visa to go to the other, to visit each other. So why has it become such a big issue?
To answer this question, as I stated initially, that this is one area that remained unresolved between both the sides. Now, this is governed by the Sugauli Treaty of 1816. However, there has always been this understanding. India and Nepal prime ministers, long time back, about 10, 20 years back, there was this decision that yes, it will have to be politically resolved. And even when Prime Minister Modi came to power in 2014, and we saw the then, former External Affairs Minister, Ms. Sushma Swaraj, when she visited Nepal in 2014 July, she gave it, a fresh lease of life, stating that yes, India acknowledges the fact that this is a unresolved border area, the tension that has to be outstanding issue, and it will be resolved under the Modi government. And then subsequently, Prime Minister Modi visited Nepal in the same year, the year that he came to power in 2014 in August, and he also committed to the fact that yes, both sides will be having an immediate mechanism set up, maybe after, on at the level of the foreign secretaries, to have this resolved. But we've seen that time has flown by, and it's been about 2020, and I mean May 2020 we are talking about, and there's not a single round of foreign secretary level talks have taken place.
Right. Tarush wants to know, can the Indian government impose sanctions on Nepal government and issue a trade blockade? Well, India is always accused of being the big brother to Nepal and behaving in a slightly, being a bully in that sense. So not sure this is anyway the ideal diplomatic solution to it.
No, so as I said, Nepal continues to be one of the good friends that India has in the neighborhood, with whom India, I mean, both sides have a trust factor to each other, with open borders, free movement of people. So trading sanctions and blockade, we've seen what had happened in
During the
2015.
Madhes agitation, right?
Yes. Yes, during the Madhesi agitation, we saw the kind of anti-India sentiments that came up because delivery of essential items got blocked. So trade blockage and trade sanctions are really not the way to both friends sort of behave. But yes, I mean, right now things have gone a little out of the way. India has to now pull up all its diplomatic skills that it has to settle the matter, because end of the day, Prime Minister Modi adheres to the fact that for him, one of the main priorities in his foreign policy is neighborhood first, and in which Nepal plays a key role.
Right. Palash Java has a question. Is there any codified document to border dispute between India and Nepal, and can the court intervene in this matter?
Well, when it comes to sovereign decisions, which court are you actually talking about? No. I mean, these are bilateral matters, and India has always asserted when it comes to its border areas, be it Pakistan or Nepal, that these are bilateral issues. So you do not really take it to international courts. And apart from that, yes, there had been the peace treaty of 1950, and as I said,
Right.
the Kigali treaty. So all these treaties have a tacit understanding that yes, these two countries are they do have an understanding, and that the fact that yes, this is an outstanding area and that needs to be resolved. But as we can see that the matters have gone from bad to worse.
Right. Shantanu 3112 is the user handle. Is the opposition party in Nepal still friendly towards India? Does the RNAW have a presence in Nepal? So we did see one opposition party actually join ranks with the government, haven't we? The
Yes,
Nepal government, right?
yes, you are right, Ruhi. So opposition parties are also sort of, supporting the Oli government on this, because they believe that this has been a long pending outstanding issue that India should have addressed by now. And we've seen after, the issue that had happened with the abrogation of Article 370 with J&K, Nepal expected that maybe that area will also be resolved, but that has certainly not happened. So opposition parties are sort of, I would say the Oli government is getting a lot of support from the opposition parties on this.
Right. Shivu GS, now for those of you wondering why I'm looking down constantly, it's because I'm looking at your questions which are being flashed on my phone. Shivu GS has a question. India helped when there was a massive earthquake in Nepal. Is this the way they reciprocate? So, Nayanima, there is a lot of people-to-people connect as far as India and Nepal are concerned. As this viewer or this reader has said that, perhaps feels wronged with the way Nepal is reacting, considering how India had helped during the earthquake. Nepal, on the other hand, there are many people in Nepal who do feel, as I said, that India has this big brother, big bully attitude. Does that make the diplomatic relationship even more sensitive? Because, with Pakistan, there is always this thing of the other, the enemy. But with Nepal, it's not that as far as people-to-people connect is concerned.
Yes, so as I said, with Nepal, the relationship has always been special. I mean, we've seen how, be it businessmen, tourists, India, Nepal has always shared a special relationship when you don't need a visa. In fact, you just need probably your PAN card or your Aadhaar, or just your passport. You can travel to Nepal. It was as simple as that. So yes, India has helped Nepal giving humanitarian aid on natural calamities. Nepal has also reciprocated. Let's not forget the contribution that Nepal also does to India in terms of its skilled workforce. And also, let's not forget that even within the Indian Army, we have the Gorkha Regiment, servicing the army for a very long time, for decades now. So in sort of problems like this, you don't really talk about who gave how much to what side, to which side. We know very well that Nepal remains key for India, and that's how it will be, because after all, they are your immediate neighbors and a very good friend at that.
Right. Well, thank you, Nayanima. Thank you for joining us and taking us through what has happened between India and Nepal. As you pointed out, friendly neighbors, but now it's becoming increasingly bitter over some border dispute. Thank you so much for watching Government Matters, for sending in your questions. Don't forget, we have a special off the cuff this evening at 5 p.m., where our editor-in-chief Shekhar Gupta will be in conversation with Adar Poonawala, the CEO and owner of Serum Institute. So do stay tuned. It'll be live on our YouTube channels. Don't forget to watch.